Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hi, Franchi. Good morning.
Hi, Mom. How are you?
Good, good. As an exception, we are not doing neither Saturday nor Sunday today, but we are doing our SMT, and we apologize for a delay this time.
True, true. But we found a way to make it.
Course, of course, of course. Good. So this is SMT season number 6 and episode number 7. Um, and the topic for today is, as it's my lead today.
I did.
I'm taking the lead. As we have already done colors and sound, today we're doing space.
Yay! I love
Space,
it.
exactly, space in a relationship. And so it was not easy. It was not easy. It took me a couple of climbs, let's say, ups
I
and
imagine.
downs, ups and downs, but I finally got there. At the end, I got there, and I had a few ideas that I wanted to share with you, Franchi.
Can't wait. Looking forward.
Good. So, first thing that we're going to do, Franchi, is just to start with the topic. So, I remind everyone the topic is space and, in particular, making space. Okay. This is, of course, there's a reason for that, and I'm coming after I show you something and I share with everyone something that I have prepared for today. But this is because one of the topics that we speak about and that we deal with sorry, in relationships, but in our relationship as well, is space, and of course the importance of making space for the other. Okay. And so, Francia, I will start by sharing a poem. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Good. All right. So can you see my screen?
I can.
Good. And I don't think you know who he is, right?
I don't. I don't know him.
Good. So he's a Lebanese. He was a Lebanese poet, and I think you know him because you've read something by him. His name was Khalil Gibran. Khalil Gibran. Okay, and we are going to watch and listen to a poem that he wrote. The name is Children. Okay. So let's
Okay.
watch, listen, and then we can speak. Okay?
Okay.
Enjoy it.
Thank
Your
you.
children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable.
Beautiful.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked it. You
Wow.
good.
Wow.
You had never heard or read that poem?
Don't think I did. I don't think I
Mhm.
have. I don't think I have. Um, yeah, it's very nice.
It
It's
is.
very nice.
It's beautiful. It's popular. Many people know about this, and I think parents, every now and then, you see like a chain of people sending this poem.
Yeah. Sending.
Course, because it speaks about parenthood as well. And
Yeah.
so the idea today, again, was to speak about making space and why. So now it's the why, the reason why I chose this topic. And that's because I've been studying for many years. Of course, you know what I have been studying, but there is a concept in the spiritual path that is called Zim Zum, okay? And which is basically a contraction, okay? And I'm not gonna speak about it and I'm not going to specify anything, but it's a contraction to allow space for something to be created. Okay.
Wow. Okay. But
So
what do you mean by contraction?
a contraction means that the whatever happens, and then you can take it, of course, to something very spiritual, to the yes to a force that we cannot define, but you can also take it to everyday concepts and think about this. You hide, okay? You do not stop to exist, but you hide in order to give space, make space for something else to have space, okay? To be created. Mm. And this
Okay.
is, I mean, very, very easily taken to our everyday lives. This could be just thinking about listening to others. Okay, when you're having a conversation, the act of keeping silent and listening to the other person expressing, even when you want to speak, okay, this is again, this is what that contraction means, of course. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Good. And I thought
Makes
about
sense.
I thought about that poem. Come on, I did some research of what I could show to speak about this concept of making space. And of course, the poem speaks about parents making space for their children to be, okay?
Mm,
Not to be at the end. And so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, if you agree, about
please.
making space. Okay. What does it mean for you, Frances, to make space for the others? So, first of all,
Mm.
definition. If you take it to your own life and maybe with one or two examples.
Ah, wow, it's really nice. Um, as you just said now, I think the first thing that comes to mind is uh, giving, like listening, right? In a conversation, give the other the space to speak. Because at the same time, I think that I appreciate when people give me that space,
Mhm.
uh, and that space being genuine. It has to be genuine of the other person really not only giving you the space to listen, but also to really be interested in what you're saying. So I think it's that I want to give uh, the other the space to be heard, uh, and to feel interesting in a way, uh, and uh, to make them feel like what they're talking about is something special and unique.
Mhm.
So that for sure. And then I think sometimes people need space and need time and need a moment to process their own things, because we
Mhm.
all have our own things and our own, yeah, things to deal with. And so I think it's important to be able to kind of read um, the other person's energy, I'd say. And I think that's a way to for me to also give space to read the other person's energy and read their needs, which could be having some space in that specific moment, having some time on their own, and
Mhm.
so give the other one that.
Great. And would you say of yourself that you give too much space, too little space, or the right space?
That's a very interesting
I know
one.
it's 8:30 in the morning, but come on.
We can do it. We can do it. Um, okay. I think I give a good amount of space. Um, Sometimes I feel like when I'm very aligned with someone, I feel like I get excited and I want to contribute to what they're saying, add and make them feel like I'm really in there with them and listening. And so maybe I tend to, you know, uh, come in the space a bit too much, maybe. And I find myself thinking, "Oh, I need to listen to the end of the sentence. I need to let them finish the thought, right?" Um, but in general, I think I'm conscious. I'm conscious. I try to be conscious about giving a good amount of space.
Mhm. And do you think that people in general, okay, then you can think about people, you can think about yourself to elaborate the thoughts, but do you think that sometimes people hide in this concept of I give you space just for me not to contribute or not to say something because either I don't know what to say or I don't know how I could react in that situation or circumstance. I don't know. Do you think that happens sometimes?
Yeah, for sure. I think we also talked about it. I definitely feel that way. I don't know if I find it in many other people, honestly. Um, I think people tend to mask it a lot. Uh, but yes, yes, it exists. It exists. I feel that way. And it's also something I'm trying to work on. Owning your space.
Good, good. Me too. I try to work on the opposite, making the space. But well, that's it.
We're in this
Walks
life
of
for something.
walks of life, exactly. Walks of life. Now, in which areas could you say that it's easier for you to make space and when areas or even people? I mean, you don't need to say, of course, names, but you can think about family and friends and work environment or you in your different roles. But where is it easier for you to make space and where is it more difficult?
Mm. So to make space for the others.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
Um,
Give
well,
the others the right space for everything to be, to elaborate, to express, okay,
yeah.
without your invasion, let's say, without you invading
Mhm.
them.
Well, I think that uh, with mm, people that I gained, let's say, confidence with, but confidence in the sense of like a certain level of intimacy, let's say, and comfortness.
Mhm.
Um, it's I I find in them the perfect balance of me giving them a safe space, but also, feeling safe to have my space with them and being mm, nurtured in that. I don't know, welcomed in that. But to go back to what you asked me of, like, to the others. So I think it's very easy for me to give space to people I don't know, contexts I don't know. Uh, I tend to put myself back, and not just throw myself like a kamikaze. uh, so in those contexts where I'm not that familiar with what I have in
True,
front
true.
of me, it's very easy for me to, give the priority to the other one, let's say, to the other thing. Um, I think there's something about, for example, going to the theater, um, to watch something. There's something about being the audience
Mhm.
that it's a lot about giving space, I think, and just, literally being just the observant, right? And just giving, I mean, in that context of like you sitting down and just watching something, it's almost inevitable to not give the space, right? But still, I think you're in a very receptive position
You put
there.
yourself, exactly, you put yourself in that situation, let's say.
Yes, yes, exactly. I think it is more difficult to give space to me when I'm in the position of performing, right?
Mm.
I think in the context of school, all the years at school and everything, I think I was always very, I want to say thinking about myself, which is terrible, but I
Mm.
think in my determinism,
Mhm.
uh, I wasn't thinking a lot about, um, just, okay, maybe this could be done by someone else, or let me give the other person the possibility to shine. And maybe that was coming either way at the end, but um, I don't know. It was a less conscious thought. I wanted to do
Of course.
and be in my own path, and a little bit like that.
Yeah, of course, I get it.
I
Good. Now I
love
know
these
that
questions.
I know that today we do not have a lot of time, and we do have a couple of things that we still want to do. But just maybe one suggestion or one way that you think that you, me, people could exercise the art
Mm,
of making space. So, which is something that we can instantly, or I don't know, quite easily try to do in order to exercise this art of
mm,
making and giving space.
making space. I don't know. I think we all need to put ourselves in the position of, like, we always have something to learn from the other. And so, even in situations where it feels like we already know the other person, they're going to tell us something we already know, I think we need to remind ourselves that, hey, we could still be surprised, we could still be amazed, we could still be learning from this, and then automatically go into a more receptive mood again, position. Um,
So sorry, Francie, to interrupt you, but you're saying putting ourselves in the student position.
in the student position, yes, in the student
Right.
position, exactly. I love that. Um, and then Well, we didn't talk about physical space, right?
Mhm.
Uh, I think that's a big deal too. And I found myself um, losing a lot of that physical component in the years, probably because of my um, cultural, geographical context. I don't know, but I think I tend to, you know, not everybody likes physical contact, just to give something very practical as an example. And so also being able to read that, it's important, no? Uh, and in order to read that, I don't know, it's literally about almost getting out of yourself and
Mhm.
uh, observing from the outside, which is very abstract, but I think about that.
No, but it's a way of course, of exercising. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Good,
I
Franchi.
want to ask you so many
I know,
questions
I
too.
know, I know, I know. But let's move on to the beautiful moment of the week, which is like the beauty part of our episode.
Yes, please, you start this time.
Should I? Yes.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. So I'm
I'm
going to start and
curious.
I'm going to make it easy. And again,
I'm giving you the space.
thank you, Franchi. So the photo that I'm going to share is about space.
Oh,
And
wow.
there are many things that I could say about this photo, okay? But I will just go to the concept that we were speaking about before. This is a photo of Bormio in Italy, in the northern part of Italy. I've just been there. I went there last week, a few days ago, with my siblings, so with my sister and my brother. And that was a lot of exercise of making space for the others.
I
It's
know
a
it.
funny note, a funny note, but it's true, it's true. And I was in between choosing one photo with them or this photo, but I chose the photo without them because this concept that I told you at the beginning, Franche, of the zin zoom or the contraction, it doesn't mean that whatever is contracting or hiding doesn't exist, but it means that it's not there so present, but the prints, the footprints of that presence are still there. Okay. And what happens with me is that
Mm,
whenever in the future, uh, at any time when I will be watching this photo, I will be thinking of my siblings, okay? Because this was a moment with them. This is a space or yes, this was a space that it was inhabited by them. And of course, that is the space, the physical space that will be in my heart in the
yes,
future.
and I love the concept of like the prints
Absolutely.
still
Yes.
staying there. And that is like part of like how we can exercise this whole thing of like trusting that there will be remains.
Absolutely, 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 absolutely. And we can go very philosophical and say this,
Yeah.
that of course we can take this concept to the people who are not here with us anymore nowadays, okay?
Mhm.
Because so many
Yeah,
spaces remind us of them, but it's not them who inhabit those spaces, but they're left over, let's say, their prints that,
for
of course,
sure.
are still evident there. And so, yes, 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 yes. Good.
For
And that
sure.
is my photo, Francie. So you can have 1, 2 minutes to share yours, please.
I will with pleasure. And this is my photo. Let
Beautiful.
me make it bigger. Finally, I have a photo of my beloved lake as well, which you usually share. Um, I went on this walk with my dad, who is in the photo. Um, and well, it was a very nice walk, a moment to reconnect. Um, and I'm just, I don't know, having it's really a lake that what's a good way to say attacks you, because it's not attacking you, but it's really embraces you, you know.
Beautiful.
Those lakes and the mountains, like now coming back to Lecco more sporadically, it's really I'm always amazed by the
Mm.
greatness of this scenario, this environment, that this nature that the lake has to offer to us. And this was a little corner. We sat on some rocks, doing some meditation, some bathing. It was a beautiful moment. But I
Lovely.
think in this picture, you really have it all. You have some the first trees for the spring weather, the mountains, this this melting pot here, this this point where everything comes together, the lake, the horizon, beautiful, beautiful, and of course the clearness of the water that was surprising us the other day. But really, I feel so grateful to be able to visit this place so often, even if it's home, you know, but a home that I can visit.
Nice, nice, nice. Fantastic. I loved it, Franchi.
I loved it so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. We
And
will continue the conversation
exactly.
outside of it.
And cheers to making space. Okay. I'm working on that. It,
We all are.
thank you,
Thank
Franchi.
you.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you
Have a
next
lovely
time.
day, everybody.
Bye. Bye.